Radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game.
Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network and KJRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Good evening. Fade to Black. Bespoke radio for the masses. How you doing? Let's do this. What a week on Fade to Black. And not only that, crazy news day today out there if you're paying attention. Last night, Stanton Friedman was here. Tonight, Patricia Cori. Tomorrow night, Whitley Strieber. Unbelievable. Today's Tuesday, December 12th. 346 days into the new year. Just 19 days left. We are live from a bunker somewhere in downtown Burbank, California. And I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world. All across the United States. Hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south. Far and near. This is Fade to Black. For KJCR, the Game Changer Network, and KJRA, the planet. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking, everybody? How you doing? Woo, man. You gotta love it. You gotta love it. You gotta love the week on the show, the weeks that we have had lately. Today is show number 770, and one might ask right now, as I say that kind of number, how did we get here? I have no idea. It is a blur. Next week, on the 19th, will be our 4-year anniversary, which is equally as astounding. Blows my mind. Absolutely blows my mind. How did we get here? So much has happened in our world with this show, with all of you. It's just been a crazy, crazy ride. So and it's the holidays, too, as well. And I guess I never really thought about it, but you know, our first show being on December 19th, right before Christmas, back in 2013, I didn't think of the significance of that we would have an anniversary every year right before Christmas. But we do, and that's, my father used to say, it's the life you chose. It's the life, whenever you complain, he's like, oh, man, well, you know what? It's the life you chose. And that's the thing that just kind of shuts you up. There's no response for that, right? Yeah, you're right, Pops. There you go. All right. A little programming note. In the morning, I haven't said anything, but in the morning, Rita and our daughter Diana are flying to New York City. They're going to go and vacation for 5 days and explore the winter wonderland that is Manhattan in the middle of December. It's going to be great. And so they're taking off in the morning. And I will be manning the show by myself for 5 days, manning the house and doing all of that stuff for 5 straight days. So they're all excited, and I've just got to figure out how I'm going to manage things all on my own. But they leave in the morning, and I'm already feeling melancholy. They're going to go have the best time. I was going to, maybe fly out there Saturday and come back Sunday. That was talked about, but I just decided, you know what, you guys just go and do the mother-daughter thing. Go shop, museums, Broadway, whatever it is you guys want to just go and do it and have fun. So they're going to take off in the morning. Now, Patricia Cori is with us tonight. We're going to be discussing her new book. It's called The New Sirian Revelations, Galactic Prophecies for the Awakening Human Collective. I have the book. It is amazing. Highly recommended. We'll be talking about all of that and her 20-year journey with being a spokesperson, a scribe, if you will, for the Sirian. So that's our conversation tonight. Tomorrow night, Whitley Strieber is here. And Whitley has been on with us a few times this year. And each time he was on the show, he was talking about wanting to write this book with Anne. Well, the book is now out. It is completed. It is called The Afterlife Revolution. And that is going to be our conversation tomorrow night with Whitley. And I want to know how he wrote it. You know, the book is great. I have it, and it's really, you know what's weird? In both Patricia's book, her new one, The New Sirian Revelations, and Whitley's The Afterlife Revolution, similar titles, right? Kind of, you know. But the intro for both books covers some things that span time. Okay, so the intro of Patricia's book spans 20 years, and she goes back 20 years ago and talks about what was going on and, you know, in the world at that time, and there was a lot of things going down, and then up to present day, and that's the intro to the book. And in a lot of the same ways, Whitley did the same thing. And so I'm reading both books at the same time, jumping back and forth, and the wisdom and the subject matter is, it's not the same. It's not even close to being the same. It's the flavor of it that is so similar, the message. It's really cool to read both of these books at the same time. So, and to have these guests on 2 nights in a row. Very excited about the conversation that's about to happen tonight with Patricia. Tomorrow night is Whitley. Thursday night, No More Fake Newsroom with John Rappaport, followed by Open Lines. And there you go there. You can follow me on Twitter at, does it mean party time for you and me, Jimmy? Scott. See, that's what Scott's mind is in the right place. And I get that. Man, it's in the right place. It's like, okay, you know, the cat's away. You know, let's go do that. I'm just like, oh man. And I thought about a couple of things. This is the deal. I thought, you know what? Okay, so Rita and Deanna aren't here. I can go guitar shopping. I can go to the computer store and just buy man stuff that normally I would ask permission for. Yeah, I thought about all of that, Scott. Yep, I did. So maybe I'll go out. Maybe I'll go out and pop a couple of dinners with some friends too as well. But yeah, they're flying away in the morning. Yep. Follow me on Twitter at JChurch Radio, Facebook, YouTube. Everything is Fade to Black, Jimmy Church Radio. You can go now, follow, like, and subscribe. Don't forget to come hang out with us. You can either jump into one of the chat rooms over in Spreaker or KJAC The Planet. There's chat rooms there. Or you can join us right here on Twitter. Use hashtag F2B. That is the sandbox on Twitter. And hashtag F2B2 is Fade to Black questions if you have any questions or comments during the show tonight. Okay. I'm going to get through a couple of things really quick. Our next event will be the Conscious Life Expo. It's coming up February 9th through the 12th. I cannot believe it. Today is December 12th. 12/12 today. Wow. 12/12. Love the numbers. 12/12/17. So that's 24/17. Yeah, that's a good number. I think 12/12/17 is a good number. Coming up February 9th through the 12th, 2018 at the LAX Hilton. Click on the Conscious Life Expo banner over at jimmychurchradio.com. Tickets and info and everything that you need is right there. We've got a full weekend of festivities, and I'm looking forward to hanging out with all of you Fadernauts out there. And one of the cool things this year for us is 3 of our sponsors are going to be there. Ronnie McMullen, Life Change Tea, he's going to be there. River Moon Coffee, right? Juanita and Jeff are going to be there. New Pharma is going to be there. Chip Paul, they're going to all have booths. And so all of you Fadernauts can go and meet Ronnie and Juanita and Jeff and Chip and check out everything. So that's really cool. We're going to have our booth will be, when you get there, when you get to the Conscious Life Expo, we're not going to be down in the vendor area. We have a special booth on the second floor in the mezzanine all by itself. It will be right there at the entrance to the Conscious Life Expo. So you'll be, as you walk in and walk out, you'll be looking at us right there with River Moon Coffee, and it's going to be great. So that will be our central area. In years gone past, we haven't had a booth. So we've had different meeting areas that we've set up around, but now we've got, we decided to take the plunge this year and actually have a Fade to Black booth with River Moon Coffee and Fade to Black blend, so we could have a meeting area, a central place to kick it, and it will be right there on the mezzanine level. Okay, we'll have T-shirts there and all kinds of Fade to Black gear, and of course a Fade to Black blend, our coffee and River Moon, and maybe we'll be dispensing some cold press. Yeah, that was amazing. That was a highlight for Contact in the Desert for anybody that was there. So, okay, and don't forget to visit all of our sponsors here, our family. It is Christmas. It is the holidays. Great time to give some really cool, unique gifts like Life Change Tea and River Moon Coffee and New Pharma, Ancient Life Oil, New Manna. New Manna would be a great Christmas gift to those that you love. And, of course, a pair of night vision goggles from Bearing Optics. I've already seen a couple of emails have come in from Fadernauts that got night vision goggles for Christmas. That's a life changer right there. That's a game-changing thing. All right, let's get this show cracking. Happy birthday to today, Jennifer Connelly. Today she is 47 years old. Starred in Labyrinth with David Bowie. And I think she was only, I've got the documentary here. I think she was 14, and she had never acted before, and Jim Henson and a pretty big movie, and David Bowie, and she comes in at 14 and just killed it, right? And I just never forgot that. Jennifer Connelly, great actress, today is 47 years old. Bill Nighy, one of my favorite actors, today is 68. And sure, we know him from Underworld and all of the Underworld movies and Shaun of the Dead and what was that other one, Hot Fuzz or whatever that movie was. He's great in all of those. Wasn't he in World's End too, I think? And we know him from that. But his best movie just may be an unknown flick, and it's called Still Crazy. And it's a movie, documentary about a band from the 70s that gets back together and goes on tour, and he is the singer. And he sings, too, in the movie, on the soundtrack. It's a great movie. If you ever get a chance, check out the movie Still Crazy. Your opinion of Bill Nighy, you already love the guy, and I get that. But watch that movie, and then your opinion of Bill Nighy just goes to another level, stratosphere. Also, he was really good. There's a 3-part movie, part 1, part 2, part 3. I don't think it may be a part 4, called Turks and Caicos, where he played this secret agent, Johnny Warwicker. And if you haven't checked that out, it came out last year. It's amazing. I thought it was a series. I thought, man, it's filmed so well, though. It feels like a movie. Turns out it was like a 3-part movie that they released all at the same time. It's called Turks and Caicos. And I hope they come back with another one because he was great as Johnny Warwicker. Our dead guy's birthday today, Frank Sinatra, 1915 to 1998. I almost just said Frank. Now, Mark Tirana just posted a GIF of David Bowie in Labyrinth. It's one of the famous scenes with the 3 crystal balls that David Bowie is spinning as he's looking at Jennifer Connelly and discussing if she wants to, go into the labyrinth or maybe go home. But that scene, that's not David Bowie's hand. That's a stunt hand. And in the documentary, it's great because the actor, he's got a long black sleeve on. He's down behind David Bowie, and he can't see his hand. He's like, he's down below spinning and it's, there you go. It'd be cool if it was David, but I think he tried to learn how to do it, but he couldn't do it. So that's actually a stunt hand in that scene. I'm going to retweet that. That's actually a pretty cool scene. All right. Frank Sinatra, 1915, 1998, died at the age of 82. Right here in Los Angeles, California. He died at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles, May 14th, 1998, after having a heart attack. Great singer, but also a pretty dang good actor, too. The original Ocean's 11, the Manchurian Candidate, right? He was great. All right, Frank Sinatra sold 150 million records. 150 million. Almost went broke, too. Had a weird period. Went back to Vegas. Rest is history. So there you go. Frank Sinatra. On this day in history, 1901, Marconi sends the first Atlantic wireless transmission. Many said that the curvature of the Earth would limit transmission to 200 miles or less. But it ended up traveling more than 2,000 miles from England to Canada. Fate or fact, flat earthers don't save it, okay? Save it. Fate or fact, General George Patton believed he was a reincarnation of either a military leader from Napoleon's army or a Roman legionnaire. That's right. That's fate or fact. Tonight, Patricia Cori joins us. She is live from the Azores, out there in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, smack dab in the middle. You look on a map, look where the Azores are. You've got nothing. You are out there. You are alone. They do have an airstrip, though. You got a little airport there. But that's where she's live from tonight. Okay, we're going to talk about her new book, The New Sirian Revelations, Galactic Prophecies for the Awakening Human Collective. Tomorrow night, Whitley Strieber's going to be here, The Afterlife Revolution. Thursday is another Fader night with John Rappaport and his No More Fake Newsroom Live. Now, I don't do politics on this show, but all day today, it's been the election out there in Alabama with Moore and Jones. And I'm looking now, 86% of the vote in, and it's tied. It's tied. 49.3 to 49.1. Moore is ahead by about 2,000 votes, it looks like. So it's closing in. So there you go. It's tied. We'll see. We'll see how that wraps up. Man, crazy. Just crazy news day. And I'm not going to get into that. I'm not going to get into the news. And I tried to avoid it with everything that I had today. But cell phones going off with alerts and this and text and emails. And can you believe this, Jimmy, that this just happened? He said this, she said this tweet, that tweet. Just a crazy news day, right? And I'm sitting here thinking about Stanton's show last night. And I got a bunch of email about it. Now, what I got the email about, which was basically that Stanton was painting a pretty negative picture of us, that we aren't all bad here, and he kept going back and revisiting that over and over in the show. Well, first off, Stanton has earned the right to have his own opinion. So there you go. But that's not what I was thinking about today. What I was thinking about, and I've interviewed Stanton a lot. I've had a lot of conversations with him. What flipped me out about Stanton last night was his mentioning of telepathy. And I brought up channeling last night and the contact and the communication and the speed of the mind versus the speed of light. And he impressed me with that. And I depend on the smart people out there for me to learn, right? That's what I do. I'm a sponge. I listen to everybody. I don't close my mind down on anything. I just listen. I listen. And Stanton and I, a couple of times, and I've talked about it here, have butted heads publicly out in front of people. Man, we have butted heads, famously over Bob Lazar. And I learned then, Stanton was so strong on it that I had to back up and just, obviously show the man the respect that he deserves, but also that I need to listen. He didn't change my mind on Bob Lazar. But I know that Stanton is a black and white, pragmatic guy where he wants data. That's what, he's a physicist, a nuclear physicist, and has worked on top secret projects and has been around the block. So he's a guy that needs numbers. That's what he needs. He needs to look at stuff. He needs the facts. And I get that. So for him last night to reach out and talk about telepathy and the possibility of communication going on out there, which I believe happens in this universe of ours. I firmly believe, when I say I know, I'm saying I know that atoms communicate, photons communicate, things happen at an atomic and subatomic level, instantaneous quantum mechanics and locality and non-locality of communication through and over vast distances, instant, not at the speed of light, at the very same time. To have things change polarity, at an instant, at the same time, is something that freaks me out. And if that can happen, could an advanced civilization communicate that way? Of course. Why wouldn't they? Figure that out, right? Get that ironed out. And that takes me to channeling. There is so much communication that goes on, not only with our loved ones and deceased and those on the other side. There's that aspect. But then there's the other side of it, where there is apparently a lot of communication with various ET communities out there in the universe that are reaching out. They may not even reach in this general direction. It just may be universal. And there may be pathways that this communication's a quantum matrix of communication going on out there, right? Like cell phone towers that they tap into and communicate with each other across vast distances of space. Stanton mentioned last night the Galactic Federation, and I think that he said it a little bit in jest. What he was referring to was a collective. There must be. There are the amount of alien life out there, which has got to be, it's not infinite, but it has to be in the millions, if not billions of civilizations that are out there. Have they figured out a way to communicate with each other, right? And do we get that bleed over here? I think that we do. Some of the channelers that I have spoken to, some on this show, some not on the show, that speak about this, there's something going on, and there's something to it. And I think that, like Stanton said last night, we need to pay attention. Hence this book. Patricia Cori, the new book, The Sirian Revelations, Galactic Prophecies for the Awakening Human Collective. She's been doing this now for 20 years. 20 years. And you go back and you look at Jane Roberts, right? Bashar. Some of these others out there that have been doing this. There is something, Michaela, remember when she was on the show? Still, to this day, one of the most mind-blowing conversations that I've ever had. And it was on the show. By the way, I got to get Michaela back on here. We should do Michaela. Should we? I'm going to ask you guys right now on Twitter before I get out of here and get Patricia on. Should we get Michaela on to do like a year-end wrap-up live on the air, right? With the Council of Light. There is, yeah, Scalar is instantaneous. I'm with you on that. IPD coming in strong. So, hey, Steve. Steve, are you back? There you go. Good to see you here on Twitter. But there's something going on with channeling, and I don't want to dismiss it. I can't. If I look at the quantum level of things, and I look at the possibility of parallel worlds and the multiverse, and if all of that is what it is, then the possibility of communication is real. And I think that science should look into it. I really do. I want to look at the scientific aspect of this to see what is actually going on. Is there a way to measure this? Is there a way to tap in? Is there a way to tap in electronically? You know, if it is out there, right? Everybody says, yes, we should do it, right? I'm with you. That's, yes. Okay. Give me a couple of more yes votes, and I'll make that phone call tomorrow. All right, because I think that would be an amazing show. But what if we could record it? What if we could record it? Just like the ability to record our thoughts or our dreams. This is what Sandia and DARPA is working on right now. Now, if that ability is there, and if we are able to go and turn around and record what is being channeled, and figuring out how it's being done and tapping into that vast telephone network of the universe that those communities out there are using. That's where my head is at today. I am fascinated with it. I cannot wait to talk to Patricia about this tonight. All right, so the votes are in. It looks like it's a yes, 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 yes on Michaela. Let's see. Problem is you have to find wood. I have no idea what that means. See, that's the beauty right now of Twitter. There's a sub-conversation going on here. Okay. Oh, I see. Okay. Follow us on Twitter at JChurch Radio. Yeah, at JChurch Radio. Hashtag F2B is the sandbox where all of these conversations are going on. With that, I'm going to get out of here, and I'm going to get Patricia Cori in here, live from the Azores. Do you know where the Azores is? Right now, during this commercial break, what you should do, just go ahead and Google Azores, click on maps, and check out where this conversation is coming from tonight. I don't know which island it is. We'll find out in a minute. I'll be right back. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Network at KJAC, The Planet. Stay with us.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KJRA Radio. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of Fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Yes, Rivermoon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black Blend from River Moon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
Natural Health Solutions with Chris and Ronnie.
Hey, Ronnie, how you doing?
Great, Chris.
Now, you're the CEO of GetTheTea.com, right?
Yes, I am.
What is GetTheTea.com? I mean, is this tea you buy in a store?
Well, no, it's not. Life Change Tea is just that, life-changing. Life Change Tea is an herbal tea that gently cleanses your body from intruders.
What do you mean by intruders?
Well, intruders are toxins, chemicals, GMOs, heavy metals, and more. They're in our food, in our water, in our air we breathe.
Seriously?
Yeah, seriously.
And Life Change Tea will help you with removing these, as you say, intruders?
That's right, Chris.
Are there side effects with this tea?
Well, you might lose a little weight. When you clean your colon, you lose weight, you feel better, and you have more energy.
Wow. Ronnie, where can people purchase Life Change Tea?
Oh, that's easy. GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com.
Ronnie, I want to thank you for being on the show. People, don't forget, GetTheTea.com.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KJAC, the planet.
Win big with KJRA this summer. Tickets and hotel accommodations to the biggest conferences, autographed books and DVDs, chances to win all-inclusive conference cruises, and private dinners with your favorite KJRA hosts. Click the contest tab at KJRAradio.com for your chance to win big this summer. Your contact for the best alternative talk radio on the planet. KJRAradio.com.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Massey, and you're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Patricia Cori is with us. This portion of the show is brought to you by Life Change Tea. Life Change Tea, starting with their Super Strength Tea. We use Life Change Tea products every single day here at Fade to Black. Just go to the banner right now at jimmychurchradio.com. Use the promo code FADER, and you will get free shipping because you know somebody. All right, I don't do politics on this show. We all know that. But we do have some breaking news. That's right. Doug Jones has won the Senate race in Alabama, the first Democratic senator elected there in like 2.5 decades, and they're partying like it's 1999. 91% of the vote in. I've just checked the various news outlets, and even Fox is saying that Jones has defeated Moore. So there you go. Big political day here. We'll see how this blows out tomorrow. But you know what? Save everything in Twitter. We don't do politics here. It is breaking news. I just wanted to keep everybody updated. Patricia Cori is one of the most well-known and established authorities on the realms of the mystic, whose views of the world challenge the status quo and confront the issues that concern us all today. She's a pioneer of the alternative thought community. She loves to stretch the imagination with visions of what might very well be as science fiction becomes a reality every day in our rapidly changing world. With 14 books published in more than 20 foreign languages, she has been a key voice in the alternative media for decades, bringing paradigm-busting information to the public since 1996. The former host of the popular radio show Beyond the Matrix, she has herself been interviewed on hundreds of talk and radio TV programs, including CNN, Coast to Coast AM, and WABC, of course, you know, Fade to Black, Playboy Radio, the Urban Radio Journal, Urban Journal Radio, KJAC Radio Montreal, 21st Century Radio, Fringe Radio, Unity FM, and many others. She has also appeared in many documentary films. Tonight, we are going to discuss her latest book. It's called The New Sirian Revelations, Galactic Prophecies for the Awakening Human Collective, which has been released earlier this month on December 5th. And the links to the book and her website are over at jimmychurchradio.com. I would like to welcome back to Fade to Black, Patricia Cori. Patricia, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you for that wonderful introduction.
You know, it's been almost 4 years since you've been on the show.
No way.
I know, right? It doesn't.
4 years?
I don't know. It's called a time shift. I don't know how we got here.
Time space. It's that space time continuum warping.
Yeah. Now, the last time you were here before. Now, see, I can legitimately say, what have you been up to? Because you got a whole load of stuff to say. But the last time we talked, you were living in Italy. Now you're in the Azores, in the middle of the Atlantic. Which island are you on?
I'm on the island of Fayal, and let me tell you, this is paradise on earth.
And with the hurricanes and everything that went through, down in the Caribbean, were you affected by that at all?
Not at all. I mean, we have the occasional rough storm here, but not hurricane force. No. I've never had a problem here.
Now, for those like me that don't know much about the Azores, what's the population?
I don't know about the entire 9-island community, but here on Fayal, they estimate that there is a 15,000 person population, which means it's extremely underpopulated, which is one of the reasons why I'm here.
Now, what do you do about a pizza?
Oh, it's apart from the fact that I make my own wonderful pizza, being Italian,
right?
But we have lovely. I mean, it's a very contained community, so you're not going out, every night to a different restaurant. But there are some great restaurants here. We've got a couple of grocery stores, and it's very. You know what it's like, Jimmy? It's like living in 1970, which I love. I love being somewhat extracted from the chaos of modern civilization.
Well, you guys, it looks like you have roads, right?
Oh, come on now.
I'm looking at the island here, and it looks like it was a volcano, right? Or it is.
It is a seriously volcanic island. Yeah. In fact, there was a volcano that blew up some years ago. I can't give you the precise year. Nobody got hurt, but there was an explosive volcano about 30 years ago.
I absolutely love it. But why did you move? Going from Italy to there, that's a conscious decision. You are making up your mind.
Well, I'll tell you, in 2010, I was doing the book Before We Leave You, Messages from the Whales and Dolphins, and I came here to swim in the wild with dolphins. And what I found here blew my mind. First of all, I was greeted by 250 dolphins in the middle of the ocean, which the guys that ran the boat said, this just doesn't happen. So for 2 hours, I was with this pod of dolphins that were in repose, that weren't leaving me, and I was in the middle of the Atlantic swimming with these dolphins. And I just felt that they were calling me here. And in 2010, I went back to Rome. I told my man, I'm not through with this place, and came back 2 weeks later, took everything I had saved and plunked it down on a house. And never looked. Well, I finally moved here last year because I broke up with the aforementioned man.
Right.
And now I was free to live my dream, and that's what I'm doing.
Woohoo! Right?
Yeah.
Now, what city, what town are you in?
Well, the island is Fayal. The town is called Horta, but there are fractions. And I live in a place called Flamengos, which is overlooking the world. I've got the view of a couple of spent volcanoes, valleys, and just ocean, like a 180-degree view of the ocean. It's quite spectacular.
Yeah, I can see that here. And everybody in Horta's got a view of the marina, I see.
Yeah. Oh, you do your homework, don't you?
I'm looking at it here. I'm probably looking at your house.
And I had a group of people, every year I do a group of people to come and swim with the dolphins.
Right.
And they all fell in love with the island. A couple of them are trying to figure out a way to come and live here. I mean, it is really magnificent here.
So right there on Jose Azevedo, there's a place called Papa Pizza Restaurant. So you've got pizza covered. That's
got
all.
About 4 pizzerias. One of them is called Atlantis Pizzeria because here the people they really do realize that this is, it's at least a peak of some Galapagos that was Atlantis. The people know this. They call it the ancient world.
It looks absolutely beautiful. It really does. It really does. I'm fully jealous as I live here in the metropolis of Los Angeles. Now, let's get into this. The book is incredible, and I wanted to kind of do this in stages. I want to discuss it sort of the way that you do it in the book, because you go back 20 years and you talk about what was going on, not only in pop culture, politics, world events, things that were going down, scientific things that were going down 20 years ago. When you first started, actually, you used the word scribe. Now, let's go back 20 years ago, and how did all of this start for you?
I was in the Julia Set crop circle in 1996, in July 1996. It was my first crop circle, and I was blessed to be in what I still consider to be the most important crop circle that ever came down. And in that crop circle, there were Tibetan monks, there were Native American elders. It was just a remarkable situation. And I went in because I had dreamt. I was actually doing a color therapy college course in England, and I had a dream one night that I was flying over the field of Stonehenge, and I looked down and I saw this gigantic spiral in the field across from Stonehenge. And I heard a voice say, "Pay attention to this. It's a lock-on point for extra-dimensional intelligence, and it's going to be important to you." And I woke up at 4 a.m. going, "Yeah," and made a diagram of it. About 4 days later, we went to Glastonbury for a field trip, and here's a picture of the exact same thing that I'd seen in the dream of Stonehenge and the Julia Set crop circle formation, the spiral. That I want to emphasize that until then, I had not even, this was 1996, I had not been in a crop circle. I didn't understand what crop circles were yet. I thought they were burn marks, supposedly, from supposed E.T. craft. So one of the professors, when he saw my diagram, he said, "You need to go. The reason why you're in England is because you need to get into that crop circle. I'm taking you." And when I got in, I lost consciousness. I mean, I really just left the planet. I can't even describe it. I had never had an experience like that before. And when he came back to get me, it was almost like night was falling. I was out for about 2 hours. When I was coming out of the field with him, I saw men in black, I saw plasma balls, the whole works. And I started receiving messages. I think your audience is okay with that. I mean, I know that you have a mixture of ET science and the metaphysical world in your listening audience, so I hope they're okay with me saying I'm hearing extra-dimensional beings.
Well, actually, what you just in those few sentences, you just covered the last 5 or 6 shows that we've done here on Fade to Black. Right? So,
yeah, you had the wonderful Stanton Friedman, didn't you?
Yeah, that was last night, and we. Yeah, he was great. He went there last night, and it's always a great conversation, but. Going through the channeling that we talk about, or crop circles, or the metaphysical, the supernatural, of course, E.T., the different constellations that are out there, and the massness of the hugeness of the universe. We talk about all of this stuff, and the quantum, and the quantum side of it. That type of communication is something that I'm so interested in, because I think that there's too much of it going on. right? There's too much communication that people are receiving, that there is something to it. And I just was that science would get involved and try to figure out a way to record this, right? Or to figure out what's going on in this. It's like a cell phone tower connection of the universe, and I really firmly believe that, Patricia, and that people here have a way of tapping into it, and they don't know how it is happening, just like yourself.
Well, it's just like your brain is a conglomeration of neurons, and some of us, for some reason, are utilizing these neurons to tap into another circuit board or another frequency. That's what's always been especially since that event in that crop circle. I got some kind of a tune-up. I have no other way to describe it but that, because from that point till today, which was your question, I received these incredible messages. And I want to preface this, since you mentioned quantum physics, that my background is liberal arts. I have no science background whatsoever, and yet a lot of scientifically oriented people have told me the science in the Sirian revelations is spot on. So that's interesting.
Now, you mentioned, I want to go back, you mentioned Men in Black, but you said when you came out of it, you saw plasma balls too as well. What were they doing?
They were just floating over the formation. First of all, I came out of the formation with this professor who was very concerned because I thought I was out a few minutes, and he told me it was 2 hours. And he said, we need to get the car. We really need to go back to he was not annoyed, but concerned, right? So he went ahead, and I'm walking out, and I'm seeing all these plasma balls and thinking, whoa, it felt like somebody slipped me some LSD.
Right.
And then I saw these two robotic beings walk by me, the classic Men in Black scenario, and one of them was carrying what looked like a briefcase, only he had his arm extended straight out. And I remember looking at him thinking, what a strange way to carry a briefcase. And they looked at me when I had that thought. They looked at me in tandem. It was a very menacing look. And I walked by them and went out, and there was the classic Chevy parked outside, the whole Men in Black scenario.
And what I have to? Did you have because virgins may be the right word here? You knew nothing about this. You didn't have any experience with any of this. Men in Black or this world, this community.
I'd never had experience with Men in Black. I have been a clairvoyant since childhood, so I've seen plenty of things. And I mean, when I was 4 years old, my mom said I walked into the kitchen and told her I was from another galaxy. So
fair enough.
Yeah,
but
she said I almost dropped. I don't remember it, but she said she had a pot of tomato sauce in her hands, and she said I almost dropped the pot on the floor. And I told her, "Don't worry about it. You're not ready to hear about this just yet," and walked back out.
That is awesome. That is awesome.
Unquestionably, I was blessed with a mother who gave me the breadth to experience these things, as long as I didn't tell my father too much about it. And she encouraged it in me, so I didn't get suppressed like so many children do. Now, and all my life, I've been a clairvoyant.
Well, and then the classic car, the Men in Black, the dressing. As you found out more information about them, were you able to just go back and go, "Oh, that's who they were"?
Yes, that's exactly what happened. I'll tell you what exactly happened. I think it was the next year. I was at the hangout where the crappies hang, and somebody came in and was showing a film, and he made it because it was kind of like the place where the crop circle people got together.
Yeah, that bar. It's a bar. What's the name of it?
It's a pub.
Yeah, pub.
I can't think of the name of it. It escaped me for the moment. It'll probably pop into my brain.
It'll be here. It'll be here on Twitter. It'll be here on Twitter in about 30 seconds.
I can't believe it. I've been there like 15 years in a row, and it's just slipped my mind. But it is 2:30 in the morning here, so
right.
Anyway, I was there, and this guy walked in, and he was showing a film, and he started talking about Men in Black, and boom, this memory just flashed back into my mind. And it was the first time I had any knowledge of Men in Black, and I knew for certain that what I had seen was exactly that.
Unbelievable.
So what are they? What are Men in Black? We keep going around and round about it. Are they interdimensional beings? Are they ETs? I have no answer for that other than to say I would just have been much more comfortable had they not been present.
And you said robotic. That's an interesting description. What makes you use that? Were they acting robotic or did they look robotic?
The fact that, first of all, he had this briefcase imagine holding a briefcase, which for somehow I had the impression it was heavy. And he had it extended straight out his arm rather than holding it down his side. That struck me as odd. But then again, I was in such a space of my own, having come out from 2 hours of being taken God knows where.
Right.
So I just remember thinking, strange way to carry a briefcase. And they both turned their head and looked at me exactly the same rhythm, the same speed, robotically. When I had that thought, it was like they picked up that thought and they were communicating to me, look away.
Wow.
And I did. I looked away. I was like, ooh, never mind. I didn't see your briefcase.
Wow. I want that experience. I mean, that's very unique. Not many get to have that type of encounter and to be able to recall it and then put it all together. And it's at a crop circle of all. It's That's a pretty amazing experience. Now,
I have to say, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I just want to say that I think other people also talked about Men in Black in that particular crop circle, and also what you said about remembering it, because I did have a shield over that memory. I had the experience, and then it got blocked, it got shielded, and it was when that man started talking about it at the Dewdrop Inn or whatever it was called,
right?
That it flooded back to me. So they do know how to put a veil over the experience. It's very interesting. And now that I know more about it, I really would love to have known more about it then, but perhaps I wouldn't have seen it then. You never know.
Well, one thing's for sure, the MOD at that time, or still is, but they were fully engaged. Right, and they were definitely dispersing of agents. Certainly, the MIB would be involved. Helicopters, as these crop circles were forming, the MOD would send these teams out immediately to go and investigate. And you were there for that experience. Yeah, I'm fully jealous. Now, I
have never been in a crop circle without a helicopter overhead.
I've never been to a crop circle. Not a real one. No,
you're gonna have to come over to my side of the ocean.
I'm telling you, it's coming up. Next year is going to be a busy year for us going around the world. We're definitely going to Egypt next year. We're going to hit England. We have a couple of conferences and some other things that we're going to go and do next year. So we're going to be fully international next year. I can't wait. Now, tell me about the first message. How did it happen?
All right. Well, I got back from England after that mind-blowing experience in the Julius Circle, the Julius set. I got back to Rome. I was still very discombobulated. I just never kind of got back in my body 100%. After I couldn't put it into any kind of context what happened to me there. And about a week after I got home, I went down into my office one night in some kind of a trance, sat down at the computer, and the first 3 pages of the first book, The Cosmos of Soul, just appeared on my computer. And I apparently fell asleep on the keys, because when I came out of that trance, I traced back, and the computer was like, shmeom, 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 just... I don't know how many pages of automatic pressed keys.
Oh, right.
And fortunately, I went back to page 1, and there was the beginning of The Cosmos of Soul. So the first 3 pages of that book I wrote in trance. Or I don't even want to say I wrote it. I received in trance. And the next night, I got every night I heard a sound that sounded like cellophane paper rubbing together. It would wake me up, and then I'd go down to the computer and I would bring in this information. The first night it was I was in a trance or in a state of hypnosis almost. And then the rest of the time I was fully conscious of it. And I want to emphasize for people that are listening that you've got to be very careful when you're working with this kind of aspect, because there are all kinds of levels, as we all know, in the astral.
Right.
And I am very, very particular about creating sacred space around me to be sure that what I'm bringing in is only of the highest intention.
Now, you have to go back. You fell asleep on the enter key, right? So you have to go.
I fell asleep on the keys, and they just kept repeating.
Yeah,
so
that's what I'm saying. You fell asleep on the enter key, so you had.
Yeah.
So anyway, so you go back and you read. You go back to that first page. Do you recall anything, or as you are reading it now, it's as if you were reading it for the first time?
Yes, and let me tell you that that was some kind of mind-blowing experience for me to read this very eloquent prose of the first pages of Cosmos of Soul. Hard-hitting, powerful message that talks about getting off of our knees to any established authority, standing tall. It was a definite outcry to the human race. And years later, here we are 20 years later, and I'm still bringing in even more powerful information in this book, I believe. But in that time, the information was... Have you read any of those books, Jimmy?
I've read parts of nearly everything. You've got so many books out. But yes, I've read parts of a little bit of everything that you have published.
That's wonderful. Thank you for that. Well, Cosmos of Soul and Atlantis Rising were, at the time, mind-blowing information. They talked about so many things that were still unknown or barely known. Chemtrails, HAARP. I had never heard about HAARP until I heard it from the council.
Right.
Chemtrails, chipping, cloning. It was really a preparation for what was coming in these years. And, of course, a lot of people said this is off the charts. And so this book, the new book, starts by saying, 20 years ago, we brought you this information. And it hasn't been wrong yet.
No, and we're going to talk about that right after the break. And I've got a couple of quotes here that I hope I don't embarrass you, that I pulled from the book, the new book, that it flips me out. It flips me out.
How could I be embarrassed?
It flips me out. So we'll talk about all of that. Let's take a break right here, and we'll get into the book and all of its detail right after the break. But it is amazing, and I like the way that you did the 20-year look back, because for me, and the way that you laid it out, I was like, that's exactly my mind where the world was back then, and you did it really well. We'll talk about all of that. Our guest tonight is Patricia Cori. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KJRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
This is KJRA Digital Broadcasting Station, Salt Lake City, Utah, Van Buren, Arkansas. Hello, Fadernauts. This is Jimmy Church, and I'm introducing New Pharma, a company whose products are based on science. Human function based on the endocannabinoid system, or ECS. New Pharma firmly believes in this science, and their research indicates that support of the ECS provides the beneficial effects for a healthy lifestyle. New Pharma's science includes relief capsules for pain relief, sleep capsules, which are natural support for occasional sleeplessness, Foundation is support for your ECS, and Fit Capsules support your active lifestyle. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2B for a 33% discount on all of their products. Or visit newpharma.com for all of the knowledge on the science. That's GNUpharma.com. Go Beckley Tappy.
Hello, and you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, on the Game Changer Network and the KJRA Digital Broadcast Station.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to jimmychurchradio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier.
And this is Ari Gold.
We're the Honey Brothers.
Yes.
We're of the Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier.
And I'm Ari Gold.
We're the Honey Brothers.
And you're listening to Jimmy Church.
The Revolution.
Ancient Life Oil. Life-changing. The real oil. CBD is truly Ancient Life Oil from the source. This oil has no psychoactive effect and is also legal in all 50 states. When you're healthy, you're happy. The truth about this wonderful plant is that it wants to give back to mankind life, longevity, and happiness. Ancient Life Oil are golden grade, all organic, non-GMO, and infused with high-quality liquid coconut oil. It's simple. Just go to ancientlifeoil.com today. That's ancientlifeoil.com. The best, purest, organic, and non-GMO CBD in the world. Go Beckley Tappy. The statements made regarding these products have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Please consult your healthcare professional about potential interactions or other possible complications before using any product.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black, across the globe on the Game Changer Radio Network and the one and only KJAC Radio, The Planet.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Network and KJRA The Planet. Our guest tonight, Patricia Cori. We're discussing her new book, The New Sirian Revelations, Galactic Prophecies for the Awakening Human Collective. Now, Patricia, you start off in chapter 1. This is, you write this, and it moved me. And you say, over the 20 years that I have been privileged to serve as scribe to the Sirian High Council, I've had to be bold, overriding my own limited perception of the nature of the universe, matter, energy, stars, planets, galaxies, and dimensions. I've had to neutralize any judgment I would feel during the process of serving as their channel. In reading that, what you had to dismiss all of everything that you knew, everything that you were raised about, and get this information and write it down, and you had to then make sense of it, and not, in your words, neutralize any judgment. Take me through that process. And does it affect you emotionally as you do this? Because that's what this says to me.
Very much so. I would like to say that over the years, particularly with Atlantis Rising, there was a moment when I just said, guys, wait a minute here. They're going to put me in jail if I put this in print.
Right.
I mean, I can't do this. I'm just a girl. Give me a break. And I was told, okay, this is a shutdown moment. When you get out of fear, come back to us. And I would go back to the computer every morning, and there was nothing. I couldn't plug into that energy anymore because I was in fear, and I had reason to be in fear. There were definite messages coming to me from the human variety that to cease and desist. And it was only when I got out of the fear and which was about a month later, I was actually shut down from channeling of that book for about a month. When I got out of the fear and said, all right, well, guess what? If anybody wants me, come on. I'm not afraid of you. If you want to eliminate me, I'm just as happy to be on the other side where I've already been once in a near-death experience, and got rid of the fear, and it started to flow again. So, but as far as the comment overall, to be in my humble opinion, to be a really good channel, there has to be no ego involved. You cannot believe that you own this, because if you do, it's not pure. It's moving through your ego experience, and therefore it's tainted. So I humbly submit, I do it in every book, that I'm only the scribe here, and I'd love to say that it comes from me, but I don't believe it does. And therefore, holding that humility, I think, helps strengthen the connection to that voice or that collective, and bring through the information in its purity. And that does mean stepping out of my condition. I mean, there have been times when I thought, really? No way. This is off the charts. And then silence that and say, this is what I'm being given. This is what I'm going to bring forward.
Are you conscious, or are you in deep meditation?
I'm in a pretty deep state of meditation. Unlike some channels who can sit on a stage and start channeling on call, I really have to prepare for this. It happens at around 4 a.m. I get awakened at, let's say, 3:30, 4. Sit down. I've got my tools, crystals or whatever, that amplify energy, and I sit down and I do a little meditating, and I think I'm reaching a frequency, and they're coming down, let's say, for lack of a better term, to my frequency. So there's a meeting point where these two energy vibratory frequencies meet.
Right.
And I have to work to achieve that. I don't just open my eyes and there it is.
You mentioned cellophane or a noise. Does that is that part of? I almost want to say connection. Does that always is that first?
Yes. In fact, when I was with my man, the first time I heard it, I said, "There's a mouse in the house," and he said, "What's wrong?" What? I said, "Don't you hear it?" It was like, and after several encounters with this sound, I realized it was something to do with this electrical current. That's the only way I can explain it.
Right.
This connection taking place, but it sounded like a cigarette pack, cellophane rubbing together. That's what it always sounded like to me. But of course, Franco never heard it, so I realized it was not of a, let's say, a 3D perspective.
And you also mentioned ego, and the when this happens, there's no. Well, no, hold on. I'm sorry. When you're finished, no editing. Right? There's no editing from you. The transmission, the channel as it is what is in your books.
That's exactly right. The only editing, well, I mean, I try to correct any when you're channeling and it's just like you try to go back, and when it's done, I try to go back and see if there are any typos. But the only editing is done by the publisher, and that's just grammar or spelling.
Right. Oh, amazing. And so you're in this meditative state, but you are able to type.
Yeah.
Wow, that is so cool.
It's a very hard state of mind to explain to anyone who has never experienced it, because you're in. It's not meditation as we know it, where you're sitting in lotus and contemplating the universe. There's this state of mind where you're in service. Your mind is being... I can't describe it. I really don't know how to describe it effectively, other than to say you're a conduit, Your hands are operating as an extension of what your mind is perceiving.
I would like to see it. Has anybody watched you do this?
Personal people have. Yeah. I don't ever do it publicly because I don't like to put on the show. And I have a real problem with people who do channeling as performance.
No, that's not what I'm suggesting. I'm saying I want to see this go down. It must be fascinating. I used to watch my mom ghostwrite when I was a little kid. You know, I'm 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, and I don't know if I've told you this before, but I would watch her. She would start off as I'm going to bed, right, with my brothers and sisters. She would be sitting at the dining room table with a ream of paper, right, 500 sheets, unwritten, and she would just go, and she would look up at the ceiling. Look at the ceiling, and her hands would be, writing with a pen, and I would just trip out. I'm 5, 6, I'm like, wow, that's kind of weird. And I wake up in the morning, and that ream of paper would be flipped over, and she would have written hundreds of sheets of it. But she would look at the ceiling, and I would watch her do it. It was just a mind-blowing thing. That's what I'm saying. I would love to see this go down with you. Now,
and was she writing? Was it words or was it images or?
It was words. It was words. And I would ask, Patricia, I'm straight up, man. It's my mom, right? What are you writing? And she'd be looking at the ceiling. I don't know. What? Just like, what? And so in the morning, I would say, this went on for years, and I would ask her in the morning, so what did you write about? I don't know. Did you read it? No. And she would she would have these stacks and stacks and stacks of ghostwriting. And I don't think she ever really went back and read them. I asked her about it before she died. I said, Mom, do you remember... You remember all that ghostwriting she used to do? That was a past life. Yeah, I know. But, do you remember doing it? Yeah. She almost didn't want to talk about it today. And it was such a big part of what she did back then. I would love to have access to that. I asked her about it. She said, I lost that stuff years ago. I wanted to get my hands on it and go back and read it, but... it's forever lost. But now there's I want to read something else that you wrote, and it's an amazing sentence here for the audience. You write, right on schedule, ancient monarchies and their reigns, false prophets, corrupt leaders, and secret government cabals with their clutch on the planetary soul are being taken down. Now, do you know this? Do you remember writing this in the book? Mm-hmm. Okay, you write a lot. I don't know if you remember it, but this stuck out for me not only because of it being in the book, but also the hundreds of interviews that I've done over the last couple of years. With different aspects of our community. It doesn't matter what it is, but this very thing is being talked about a lot in our community right now. So tell me what you mean by this, because it is so profound.
I think we have no question in our mind that we are at the absolute apex of civilization, and that meaning that we are, it's either ahead or back, or I don't know how to describe that. We are at the apex point. We're at a crucial point. And with all of our discussions of Anunnaki and reptilians and all the archons, all this question about what is the dark force on this planet, we also know and feel an incredible illumination, incredible opening in so many people that are finally awakening from a deep, deep sleep. And it appears to me, and in all the information that Council have always given us, that they can't hold on anymore. In fact, they've got a beautiful sentence in one of the books, which I can't remember which book it is. It says, the tighter they hold you, the freer you become. And we're witnessing this now. All of these desperate attempts on the part of the power that rules this planet to suppress human nature, to suppress society. Nothing's working. They're just desperate. I mean, look at the things that are being enacted on this planet. And rather than numbing us, even the pushing us into AI and population, well, you know all the desperate things that are being imposed on civilization, and yet they are going. Everything's crumbling. The church, we won't even talk about the Catholic Church. Governments, it's coming down. You can see it.
What do you think What do you think is causing the change? Because there's no question about the darkness that is surrounding us, whether it's terrorism or ISIS or war or racism and politics and corporate corruption and natural disasters as well. These things that are causing us to just freak out, and we can feel the darkness and we can see it. So we have that side of it, and then we have the other side where we are now becoming aware of this, and that there is a mechanism forcing us to observe this darkness and the control. So there's two sides of it. But what do you think is causing it? What's causing the awakening?
According to the council, our sun is ascending out of the third dimension. And this is a very important theme throughout the Sirian revelations from day one. Especially in Atlantis Rising, the second book, talked about how our sun is heating up. All of the planets in our solar system are in a state of extreme evolution. And this is true. We've got planets that are brighter, they're spinning faster, they're warmer. It's not just the Earth. And whereas, this is a constant conversation I'm having with people, whereas most of the information we are discussing in our, let's say, communities is about the ascension of individuals, or even some people talk about Earth splitting and part of it ascending and part of it not. The council have always said, no, it's the entire solar system. Your sun is moving out of the 3D reference. And this coincides with the great cycles of change. I think that's what's happening. I think that we're already experiencing the fourth dimension, as you have read in the new book, that has everything to do with us being faced with the karma or the reality of the karmic imprint that is on this planet, not only our own individual karmic patterns, but the pattern of civilizations from time immemorial, which is how they describe the fourth dimension. Your karma will be in front of you as a collective, as individuals. You will be looking at your karma. You will be able to face and resolve your karmic issues. So I think this is very much an explanation for what's happening.
I've made this comment with a few of my guests lately, because I've gotten a lot of email and correspondence from the audience out there that collectively, to use that word again, together, all voicing the same vibe, which is this. I've been reading about this movement to the next dimension, becoming enlightening and the Grand Awakening. And if it doesn't happen this year, man, I'm throwing in the towel, right? They've been waiting. And I totally understand where they are coming from. It's a great thing to talk about, and it is awesome. And to have this concern coming at us from the universe, onto our planet, and we know that we have issues here. But
you think?
Yeah, right. And so now I think there's a little bit of a frustration out there for things to start to change, for this to actually, really physically start to happen, where we can all say, okay, it's on, it's happening.
Well, I'd like to interject here that unfortunately, a lot of people have this vision, and this has been nourished by a lot of writers, authors, channels, that we're going to ascend to the fifth dimension and everything is going to be healed and we're going to be light beings and everything will be wonderful. And the council say, yeah, really? Do you really think you're just going to go from the state of disharmony that you're in now to automatic pilot to the fifth dimension? What about the fourth dimension? Why are you glossing over that? You have work to do. And I don't feel that we are at a point, an evolutionary point as a species, that we're just going to have that gigantic leap where we are absolved. That's the wrong word. That has a religious overtone. We are liberated from karmic patterns that we have created on this earth and are now free to soar into the light. I think we have work to do. I think the process of ascension is not that phantasmagorical, and that actually the process of ascension is already underway. It just doesn't look the way we think it should look. Does that make sense to you?
It does. It can't be overnight.
No, but that's the problem. People are expecting that. They're expecting that something's going to happen. Bingo, everything's wonderful, and all the darkness is behind us. And no, I don't see it that way at all. I think we are in the process of moving through, and we're in this book, the council talk about how the fourth dimension keeps fluttering over the third. And we have experiences, moments where we're experiencing the loss of time, extreme changes on the planet, definitely understanding what another dimension is going to be like is extremely difficult for us as long as we're stuck in the parameters of the third dimension.
You? Yes. And who is the council? Do they have names?
They have never given me name. Well, one of them has given me a name, and that is Katara. But they are disincarnate beings. It's interesting. They thrive on being recognized as being egoless souls. So they're a collective of intelligent beings who are not in body. On this council, there are also whales and dolphin beings, and there are light beings from different realms, different different solar realms.
Right. Now, in our Milky Way or outside of our Milky Way and throughout the universe?
Well, they're on another dimension. They're in the sixth dimension. So they're beyond the physical universe. So no, we wouldn't be considering them beings from the Milky Way because Sirius ascended. And that, again, is very important to whoever's listening who hasn't heard of me before or hasn't read the books. The Sirian star system is 3 stars. Some people talk about the planet Sirius, but it's not a planet. It's a star system. That's so there's Sirius A, which is the blue, they call it the blue star that's still in the sky at the bottom of Orion's belt. Mm-hmm. In fact, it's out there shining brightly as we speak, which is still in the third dimension. There's Sirius B, which was identified by the Dogon tribes. You may have heard of them.
Oh yeah.
There are stories of the Nomo. Okay, they described Sirius B and said that they were visited by these creatures, the Nomo, that came out of a pool of water that they threw onto the land, and that star is where the Sirian High Council resonate, and that's in the 6th dimension. And then there's Sirius C, which is ascended to the 4th dimension. So it's a 3-star system in 3 different dimensions. Is that confusing enough or what?
No, it's not at all. And now with, do you have any idea? No, hold on. We're going to head towards a break. So let me, I want to ask a couple of logistical questions. Do you ever have two-way communication?
What do you mean?
The information's coming to you channeling. Do you ever ask or talk back? Not talk back. Answer. Is there two-way communication? Do you talk back?
There have been times. There was actually a book with the Starseed Dialogues where I collected questions for them and presented them to them. But I don't look to them for help, anything personal. I don't have that sort of experience. No. That's not what I'm referring to. I'm asking if there's two-way communication. In other words, some information that comes to your type. Do you ever stop and go, wait a minute, I don't understand. Give that to me again. Is there communication like that? There have been times when I've been confused or unable to bring it in, and then they'll stop themselves because I think because they're communicating with me on a telepathic level, they know. So there have been times, for example, when the sound shuts down, and then one time I was given the viewing screen of a galaxy, and I was shown things rotating, and they were showing me the magnetic fields between planets. It was like being in a planetarium.
Wow. How long did that last? And how much of it do you remember?
I remember every second of it. Can you imagine my brain just becoming a planetarium?
Right.
It's such a wonderful gift.
Now, okay, so were you able to, in it, now I realize we're talking about 6D here. I fully understand. But were you able to find out timetable, a linear fashion? You know, how long have they been around? Where are they now? What, in a time sense, we're here in 2017, for instance. Is time relevant with them too? Is it relative to us? How old are they? How long have they been around? Or anything like that?
Well, there's some of that information in the earlier material, and they talk about how they too went through the ascension process. Therefore, they understand what we're going through, and that they're just a little bit ahead of us. But time is irrelevant once we get out of the third dimension. In fact, the fourth dimension is timelessness.
Right.
And when we come back from the break, I'd love to talk about that, because that's something that we're experiencing now, which is your first clue that we are, in fact, shifting out of the third.
Which is exactly where see, right now you are time shifted ahead of me. You knew what I was about to ask. Because that's what's most important here. Do they know where we are in a linear sense, and how long do we have to, because they went through this. They ascended. They were at one point, they were us, right? They were hillbillies like us, right?
Yes. And that's why they feel so much compassion for our experience, because they've been through it.
Exactly. Well, let's take our break right here. Let's do that, and we'll pick up right here. I think it's so important, and I understand, Patricia, everybody's concerned. How long is it going to take, man? How long this ascension? I'm ready to go. Is it me or is it my grandchildren that are going to go through this? We'll discuss all of that. Yeah, that's right. We'll be right back. Our guest tonight, Patricia Cori. This is Fade to Black. Stay with us.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
Always on the edge of the hottest alternative talk. Jimmy Church with Fade to Black. KJRARadio.com.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
Hurricanes, earthquakes, wildfires. This year we've experienced more than our fair share. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and last month I decided to make sure my family does not have to worry about food should we get caught in a real emergency situation. Introducing Numana, a healthy, storable product that tastes so good that you'll want to eat it every day instead of just during those times of duress. All Numana products have a 25-year shelf life, are MSG and GMO-free, no preservatives, and are made in America. With the Numana pack in your home, you'll be able to sleep at night knowing that you've protected your family. Not only have I tasted and tested, I own it. Now you can too. Just click on the Numana banner on JimmyChurchRadio.com and use the promo code Jimmy when you order. In addition to a discount, we'll send you an autographed Fade to Black t-shirt. Seriously, go Beckley Tappy.
Do you worry a lot? Whether you're a college student, busy professional, parent, or grandparent, ongoing stress and elevated levels of the stress hormone cortisol can rob your memory, your health, and your future. Now you can combat the effects of stress and anxiety while improving your memory and recall at the same time with the dietary supplement Calm and Clever. Studies show that the ingredients in Calm and Clever reduce cortisol by as much as 30% in 1 to 2 weeks. Call 1-800-758-8746 or calmandclever.com.
You listen to us, and we listen to you. And so does the CIA. KJRARadio.com.
Hi, folks. CBD is the home run hitter for health right now. Why, you ask? Because of what it does for the body. Unfortunately, I can't tell you all about the benefit. You know, there's reasons. Do your due diligence and log on to AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com. Ancient Life Oil uses organic ingredients and is blended in coconut oil for some of the best benefits. Legal in 50 states and non-psychoactive. Log on to AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. This portion of the broadcast is brought to you by River Moon Coffee, makers of the Fade to Black blend. Use the promo code F2B blend, and you will get 15% off of your order. There's nothing like a good cup of Fade to Black blend when you get up in the morning. I'm drinking it right now. Just go to the banners over at JimmyChurchRadio.com for River Moon Coffee. Now, our guest tonight is Patricia Cori. And Patricia, right before the break, I was watching Twitter as I said this. Is it our grandchildren, right, that get to enjoy this? Or do I get to see some of this action too? And I think it's important that we're excited about these times that we are in. We can feel this thing that is going on this planet, and it's exciting. But I think we all want to enjoy it too.
Well, we're in this really difficult phase where every day there's just drama all around us. And part of this process is for us to be able to create that beauty, that to polish that diamond of the conscious soul within us. Regardless of the exterior of what's going on around us, it's like this process is interior as well. So again, there's a misconception about us flying off into happy land versus facing what is exterior to us and gleaning from this. I mean, I may be sounding semantic here, but what I'm trying to say is we are in the process. It's interior as well as coping with what's around us. And in answer to the timeline, I think we are already in it. This is the difference from what most people are talking about. I believe we are already in the process of ascension, and we are seeing time starting to slip dramatically, and that is described in the book as well. How time is mutating, running out. It's the space-time continuum is warping dramatically. And I'm sure that you feel that way as well as I do, and so many people, even people who are not tuned in, are talking about what's going on with time here.
And,
so,
well, there's a couple of other things too. We have so many different people that refer to councils, and who determines, like, you know, for the Sirians, who determines that council? Do you have any information there? And you know, how are these various councils formed?
Well, my understanding is that there are, we have extraterrestrials, we have extradimensionals, interdimensionals, we have a whole plethora of beings out there, including astral entities.
Right.
So some people believe they're hearing higher beings. I'm not quite sure they are. And one could say the same thing about me, but the question, first of all, is, you know, it's a higher vibration when the information is empowering, calling you to your power, to your integrity, to truth, and when it resonates as truth within you. As far as who they are or how they're formed, I don't have an answer for. I'd love to have a fixed answer for you, but what I understand is there are different energies, intelligence on different levels or dimensions or densities. For example, we're come to believe that the Pleiadians are on the 5th dimension, the Council, the Sirian High Council, are on the 6th dimension, and so forth. The Arcturians are on the 7th or higher. And I don't know about that. What I know about is the Sirians, and they have amply described how they have moved to the 6th dimension from being 3-dimensional beings. And I've seemed to have gotten away from your original question.
Well, you know, how
Oh, yes. You did ask about, is this going to be something that we're going to experience ourselves, or is it our grandchildren? And I was trying to emphasize that we are already experiencing it, but we're just not consciously aware of how to describe these changes that are happening. Despite the political global situation and how we're interfacing with that, we are having personal experiences. People are becoming more psychic. They're becoming more sensitive to animals, for example.
Right.
The animals are changing. The planet is changing. The planets are changing. And the sun is changing. Have you noticed that? I was just doing an interview yesterday. Have you noticed that the sun is not as yellow as it was? It's more white.
Yeah. And the sky's not as blue. I remember growing up. I mean, the bluest thing that you could ever see in your life was just walking outside and looking at the sky.
We have that blue here.
Okay, well, maybe it's because I live in Los Angeles.
Well, it's those chemtrails, you know?
Yeah, that's definitely a reality. Now, okay, I'm just looking at the clock here. I've got so many questions. Are they? I know that you had a fantastic sighting in Italy above your house, and your description of that was incredible. I've never forgotten that. But with today, where we're seeing these things, you know, CE5 events, or, you know, you're out at ESETI Ranch or out in the desert and you see these lights in the sky and these, you know, glowing things that I've witnessed myself. What is that? Is that them making direct contact with us?
I think we have a potpourri of events going on. First of all, we have our own covert government that is using the sky as a computer screen to project holograms to us. Then we have ETs who are flying around. I mean, you know, we lock ourselves up in our houses or in a club or in a restaurant by 9 o'clock, right? But if you sit out at night and you just watch the sky, it's amazing what's going on around there. So I see all the time, I see things out hovering about. And I think we've got a mixture. I think we've got holographic images, homegrown craft, ET three-dimensional craft, and, as you implied, some sort of light forms or communication that are coming to us in a vibratory pattern. Through the sky, overhead, day, night. It's happening all the time. How to describe what these exactly are? I think we've got such a mixture of things that it's very hard to trust anything you really see. But I would like to say that probably you, if you've been to East City, I've never been there, but probably you, with all your experiences, have had the experience of watching a craft or perhaps communicating with it. I had 50 people at Hatshepsut Temple a few years ago, and I was guiding them in a meditation. We had the temple to ourselves in a private session. And I stopped the meditation. I said, look up. And I said, please come. You've given me so much. Please come for them. Show yourselves. And this craft just illuminated in the sky, bright. And it started to move across the sky. And somebody said, well, there was a little bit of profanity, like, holy.
Yeah, I'm sure there was.
What the heck,
right.
is that? And it made a 90-degree turn when that person said that. And somebody said, that's the space station. I was like, yeah, the space station doesn't do 90 degrees.
Right.
And it traversed the sky, and then I said, hold on, there's more. Bam! Another one came across and went from the other direction across the sky. All 50 people saw this. So, what is that? I really believe this is some sort of possibly even extra-dimensional intelligence.
Now,
it's very exciting. Nothing that we perceive right now is absolutely guaranteed to be a 3D experience, right?
Right. And with your sighting back in Italy, right, above your house, which was incredible. We don't need to, well, if you want to tell everybody. You know what? It's been 4 years since you've been on the show. Okay.
4 years? I can't believe
I know.
that.
So I'm going to ask you about that again. But with that sighting, do you think those were the Sirian? Who was in that craft?
Oh, boy, I really don't know. All I know is that, as I told you then, I was waiting for the ladder to come down and for me to be taken and whisked away.
Right.
It was that intense.
A question just came in via email, and it's from Sabrina, and she says, I've had visions and dreams of a clear blue light bodies with silver umbilical cords. These dreams, visions, I am pulling the seeds of pain and suffering from the beings so they may heal them. What species is this blue being?
She's pulling the pain from these beings, or they're pulling the pain?
I think she is pulling the pain.
I don't know. The Sirians are such loving, extremely high vibrational beings. I don't imagine them needing pain to be taken from them. So I don't have an answer for that.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Thank you to Sabrina for the work that she's doing, because obviously she's connecting with something that needs healing, and probably it doesn't matter who they are, just that she's able to help.
It also reminds me of Sammy Hagar. Once he wrote in his book that he had this, it was like an umbilical cord that came to him, connected to him, and he got his downloads via this umbilical cord. And wow. I've never forgotten that. Very interesting, his downloads. One day I'll get him on the show to talk about that a little bit more, because I'm not
sure I would want anybody putting a cord in me, though. Just for the record.
Well, it happened to him when he was sleeping. And but anyway, enough of that. This site,
I just want to. Can I insert here that I think it's a little bit strange that you asked me about the thing over the house, the headphone went out, and then the line dropped.
Yeah, of course.
And it's not the first time.
No. And I look, Patricia, as you can imagine, I do this show every night, right?
Yep.
The last thing I expect is flawlessness, right? Yep. Every time it gets to a heated moment, right? Something's, boom. I don't
it happens to me all the time.
Yeah, I don't get frustrated at all. It's just what we do. It's just what we do.
But it does seem to happen quite a lot when I'm asked about that event, which is very interesting.
Well, I'll have a guest on, and they'll go. And so then the NSA started reading my email.
Oopsie doodle.
It's like that. So then the men in black showed up at the front door, and their license plate was right. And then, so there you go. Now this sighting with you was extraordinary. You were at home. And in Italy, what city were you in?
Rome.
Yeah, you were in Rome. Okay, so what happened?
I was channeling the Sirians, and it was early evening. It wasn't the usual 4 o'clock time in the morning. And I was at my desk, and suddenly the light in the room, the overhead light, just went on like 700 degrees brighter than normal, which I looked up and thought, oh my God, why hasn't that exploded? And then it went, swoom, crashed, darkness. And then vroom, back up, vroom, gone. So I yanked the cord on the computer, and all the lights in the house were doing this. It was like even lights that were not turned on were going on. It was like a Stephen King scenario.
Right.
And I had the forethought to grab my puppy and run out of the house. And I had the driveway to the house was a bit, you had to drive into the yard. So I went all the way as far as I could go to the gate of my house. And I looked back at the house, and because I had just bought the house, my first concern was, oh my God, they're going to blow up the house. Mm-hmm. Because I thought that this was because the Sirians were bringing in too much energy or too much frequency or whatever. And so I'm staring at the house going, they're going to blow up the house. Oh, my God. And it was going, whoop, all these lights, and then splat, dark. And my dog's hair was rising straight up, and so was mine. It was energy. It was intense electrical energy. And my neighbor was across there was a hedge between us, so I couldn't see her. And my man had always told me, yeah, it'd be probably better if you don't tell the local people about your ET experiences because they may, push you out of town.
Right.
So I had never really talked to her country folk, never talked to anybody about these experiences. So I hear this voice over the head. She goes, Patricia. And I say, yes. What's happening? I don't know. She says, look up. And honestly, I had not looked up. I was just focused on the house.
Right.
And I looked up, and there was a cloud layer that looked like a high fog. And above the fog was a absolute light show. It looked like, sparkling Christmas tree lights under angel hair or over angel hair. It was just bing, bing, bing. It was like Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Right.
And it was intense. It was an absolute light show. And she said, what's happening? And I said, I don't know. And she said, is it a UFO? I was like, yeah, it's a whole fleet.
Right.
Oh, boy. And the next day, and we both, for some reason, it was nobody else was out. It was just, she was out, I was out. It happened, and it was over. And the next day, she told me that the neighbors on both sides of my house, because she was on the side that she was on, there was her house in the front, and then an apartment building in the back. Somebody in an apartment in the back was hospitalized because their television blew out, and it blew glass in their face. And the exact same thing happened to somebody on the other side of my property. 2 people were hospitalized because their TVs shattered.
The timing, like you said, you were channeling at that time. Connected?
Sorry?
Connected, the sighting above your house. And
definitely. There's no question in my mind that this was connected to the fact. Now, was it interference? When you're talking about extra-dimensional issues, it's very complicated, because could it be that because I was bringing in this channel, some other force moved in?
Right.
Or could it be that this was the Sirians manifesting a light ship? Or was there a physical ship there? I can't answer that question. All I know is I had a witness, and I'm so grateful for that, because as a psychic, sometimes you really start to wonder, am I really seeing things here, or what? Is this physical, or is it metaphysical? And it's very, sometimes, if you're not really grounded, you can start to feel like you're slipping. So when there's a witness, it's always very helpful.
Now, is I do have to take a network break here in a couple of minutes, so we'll pick up when we come back. That I have to do. There is so much chatter out there. You hear the same things that I do, which is, why don't the Sirians or the Pleiadians, the Arcturians, why aren't they running a direct interference here? Why aren't they here? Why can't they do that, and why don't they do that?
Do you want me to answer that now? Because I do have an answer for that.
Yes. Well, give me the short answer. Set up for when we return. How's that?
The short answer is, this is our karma. This is our planet, and we have to fix it. There is no savior. We're the saviors. We're the ones we're waiting for. This is our time. We don't need anybody to fix us. We need to fix it. Otherwise, how can we possibly imagine that we're going to progress and ascend, and yet we're not prepared to manage the disharmony? That's silly.
Did and we'll finish this when we come back. Did the Sirians go through the exact same things that we are going through?
No, not exactly the same, because there is no exact in the universe. But they did go through the process of moving from 3rd to 4th, and then they leaped into the 6th.
And did they, now let's back up one step behind them. Were they told how to ascend from somebody else, another culture that was before them?
Well, they're not telling us how to ascend. They're just telling us how the ascension plays out.
Yeah, so that's my question. Right. Was somebody dispensing the same advice, right? Was somebody channeling, right?
You have such an inquisitive mind. I love it, Jimmy.
Okay, we'll do that when we come back. We'll continue the inquisitiveness. Our guest tonight, Patricia Cori, live from the Azores, by the way. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. More with Patricia after this short break. Stay with us.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
Always on the edge of the hottest alternative talk. Jimmy Church with Fade to Black. KJRARadio.com.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
hurricanes, earthquakes, wildfires. This year we've experienced more than our fair share. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and last month I decided to make sure my family does not have to worry about food should we get caught in a real emergency situation. Introducing Numana, a healthy, storable product that tastes so good that you'll want to eat it every day instead of just during those times of duress. All Numana products have a 25-year shelf life, are MSG and GMO-free, no preservatives, and are made in America. With the Numana pack in your home, you'll be able to sleep at night knowing that you've protected your family. Not only have I tasted and tested, I own it. Now you can too. Just click on the Numana banner on jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code Jimmy when you order. In addition to a discount, we'll send you an autographed Fade to Black t-shirt. Seriously. Go Beckley Tappy.
Do you worry a lot? Whether you're a college student, busy professional, parent, or grandparent, ongoing stress and elevated levels of the stress hormone cortisol can rob your memory, your health, and your future. Now you can combat the effects of stress and anxiety while improving your memory and recall at the same time with the dietary supplement Calm and Clever. Studies show that the ingredients in Calm and Clever reduce cortisol by as much as 30% in 1 to 2 weeks. Call 1-800-758-8746 or calmandclever.com.
You listen to us, and we listen to you. And so does the CIA. KJRARadio.com.
Hi, folks. CBD is the home run hitter for health right now. Why, you ask? Because of what it does for the body. Unfortunately, I can't tell you all about the benefit. You know, there's reasons. Do your due diligence and log on to ancientlifeoil.com. That's ancientlifeoil.com. Ancient Life Oil uses organic ingredients and is blended in coconut oil for some of the best benefits. Legal in 50 states and non-psychoactive. Log on to ancientlifeoil.com. That's ancientlifeoil.com.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
Welcome back to Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. This segment of Fade to Black is proudly brought to you by Numana. Emergency food storage for you and your family. 25-year shelf life. MSG and GMO-free and made in America. Every order over $100 gets an autographed Fade to Black t-shirt. All you got to do is use the promo code Jimmy. Go to the Numana banner over at jimmychurchradio.com. Our guest tonight is Patricia Cori. And Patricia, I've often thought about this, that the Sirians or any other culture that is out there in the universe certainly had their mentors too as well, right? That there is, the universe is old. And I picture some Sirian version of Patricia Cori, a million years ago going, hey man, okay, I'm channeling and this is what's going on and we need to start fixing things here, and it went before that too as well, and before that. So did they, are they dispensing this advice because that's what they went through too?
I think that's really a brilliant question, and what I would suppose is that all beings have, let's say, in the process of moving upward, returning to the source, there will always be higher beings. We call them gods, perhaps they are, but higher beings that are able to help pull up those that are moving out of density higher. I would love to read may I read a quick paragraph from the book about this?
Absolutely.
Okay, here we go. Silent but never absent, we Sirians, representatives of several well-integrated, multidimensional civilizations of the cosmic unity, have been quietly observing this difficult but quite exhilarating Earth transition out of the constraints of the third dimension. Your circumstances have positioned us now to share with you what we perceive as the subsequent phases of your personal and planetary evolution. Through the din of immense turmoil and the confusion that challenges your existence and your very sanity, we hear your implorations. Where are you? Why won't you help us? When will you save us? Despite the waves of compassion that stirs within us, we do feel compelled to remind you, as we have time and time again, that you do not need to be saved. That conviction that only someone or something from beyond your realm and beyond your capacities can save you and your planet effectively delays your progression. It is vibrationally opposed to Gaia's own immense ability and innate intention to survive and flourish, no matter what is thrown at her in this time of extreme abuse and neglect, not only from the mind-numbing methodologies of despots who rule over you, but from the very human race itself.
And why is it that, and I totally understand that, why is it that we cry for intervention all the time, that we ask to be saved? You know, instead of, nobody wants to hear the free will aspect of it, right? Or that,
because that demands responsibility. That's a very observant comment. We don't want to face responsibility for the destruction. We want to take credit for the good, and we want to pass off the dark or the negative to others, the reptilians, the despotic leaders, the generals, etc. So that's a very disempowering mindset. And the counselor is saying, stand up and be in your power for the whole thing. Look at the darkness, look at the light, and use your power, your sense of owning up to the responsibility for both to affect the change that you want to see for humankind and for your planet. But we're not going to get away with saying, if good aliens are looking over us, then why don't they come and help us? We're not going to get away with that. We're not going to get away with that as far as the Sirians are concerned. It's like, you are the human race, you are the guardians of the earth, stand up and change the planet. It's a tall order.
No, exactly. And I want to go back. You mentioned earlier time shifts, and I'm wondering. Well, I want to go back. We danced over that. We moved past it too quickly. So I want to go back and address that. And do you think, not to go too left field here, but do you think that has anything to do with the Mandela effect?
I don't understand the Mandela effect very much, but it's definitely, it seems to me that it's a glitch in consciousness or glitch in the space-time continuum. I'm not sure I really understand it. It's very bizarre. But what I do know personally is I'm experiencing very strange things with time. Aside from the usual sense that it was 8 o'clock a minute ago and now it's 4 p.m.
Right.
What happened to that time? I'm actually having experiences where I'm slipping into the future and slipping back. And I'm not the only one.
Right.
So did you read in the book the story about the Italians?
No, I didn't.
All right, let me give you the quick synopsis here. I was staying in another house while this house was being rebuilt, and it was a strange place. She had the main house that I rented and a cottage next door. And one night, I heard a car pull up to the cottage. I heard people get out of the car, Italian being spoken, a baby screaming, arguing, people trudging up to the cottage, opening the door, and going in. And I remember thinking, oh, well, great, Italians. I'll have to introduce myself tomorrow morning because they were neighbors. The next morning, the owner of the house comes, and when she pulled in, I thought it was these people. And she knocked on the door, and she said, "Hey, can we have a cup of coffee? I'm just about to go over and do up the house." And I said, "But you got Italians in." And she just looked at me. She said, "Sorry?" I said, the Italians. I heard them arrive last night. You're going to have to introduce me." And she said, "Patricia, they're not here until tomorrow." I said, No. They arrived yesterday. I heard them speaking. They have a baby? She said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, I guess they nicked you for an extra night because they came last night." So we trudged over to this cottage, opened the door. Nobody was there. Not a thing was there. The mattresses were not covered yet with clean sheets, nothing. That night, the exact same time as what had happened the day before, the car pulled in, the Italians were speaking, the baby was screaming. I heard them trudge up to the house. Now, I've had a lifetime of psychic experience, but this was not like anything I've ever had happen before. Because I still can't put it into any perspective of what actually happened there. Was I catapulted? Was I in another dimension? Was I catapulted into the future and then did the space-time continuum slip and I was on a band that like, you know, when some sort of a conveyor belt slips? You know what I'm talking about?
Listen, I'm just going to tell you right now, we just totally time slipped at this moment because as you started to tell the story, and I hadn't read it, I knew the story. And I was, to the cameras here, to everybody on the live video feed, I was mouthing deja vu, deja vu. And then I wrote it out on a piece of paper and I held it up for everybody, deja vu. This story I have not read, and I knew every word of what you were just saying. That was trippy.
There went the microphone again.
Yeah, it did. It died out.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you. You're back. Yeah, it was the whole thing about you and your time slip and going back and I'm just like, oh man, that was noisy. Are you still there?
Yeah, can you hear me? I think that the device has cut out again.
Yeah, it did. I've got you on speaker. Okay. All right. See, this is I am just impressed that we were able to go this far tonight on the interview without having any issues, considering that you're out in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean.
Considering that we're talking about things like this.
Yes.
Like,
now, let's just, I don't want to go to another commercial break. So if you can fix it live on the air, that'll be fine. We only have a few short minutes left. The thing that I had read at the top of the show, which was about the cabal and the secret governments are being taken down. Who is doing the taking down? Are they taking themselves down? That is certainly not the Sirians running interference, is it?
No, it's just they're coming down because they can't hold on any longer. And they are, when they use the expression did they actually say being taken down?
Say that again?
I don't think the council used the terms they're being taken down, but rather they're coming down. It's breaking down because they can't keep hold. They can't. It's obvious to us if we really look that the systems that have been holding this planet in their clutches are breaking down. Religion is breaking down. The pedophile world is being exposed. Governments are a joke, and we know it. And we are also witness to some of the things that they're doing to the environment. And when you spoke at the beginning of this conversation about natural disasters, we know that a lot of them aren't natural.
The word, this is where I really start to flip out a little bit in a good way. Not only do we have the talk of exoplanets and discovery, this Thursday, NASA is going to make another announcement of an exoplanet that apparently was found with Google AI, by the way. That's a whole nother conversation. But we've got this object that has just entered into our solar system from interstellar space that is moving around the sun. And we are now, the headlines today were that we are focusing radio antennas to see if there is anything artificial about this object that's about to go out into interstellar space. The crazy talk about alien contact and alien life and this going on and this going on. This has never happened before, Patricia. Do you think that there's going to be some form of disclosure in 2018 that is going to be out of the cabal or government hands?
I think that disclosure of ET, three-dimensional ET reality, is government controlled. Is that, I probably don't jive with a lot of the ET information out there, but I think that if the disclosure is coming on that level, it's because they've organized it to come at that level.
Do you have any knowledge about this object that has come into our solar system from interstellar space? Do you know what that is?
I do not. I just think that the scenario is they have really run out of time now for disclosure. So it's been organized and set up. Gee, I wonder if Trump is going to be the disclosure president. That'll be a gas, won't it?
Well, yeah.
I think that that's orchestrated. I don't think that it's as important as the lights that you've talked about and some of the other manifestations that we're seeing that we still can't identify, because none of it is absolutely certain. When you're talking about what's appearing in the sky, we can't be certain of anything anymore because we know what can be done with holographs, right?
That's right.
With regard to anything that's coming out from NASA, anything that's coming out about craft traversing the sky, objects, whatever, I think they have control over this information. And I also do believe that they know that they have to. The time is up for disclosure. I think that it will be 2018-19 max. And, oh boy, that's going to be a fun ride. And of course, they want to control that. They want us to fear it. So I don't necessarily think it's going to be a positive experience. And wouldn't that be a wonderful trigger for the beings that are on the side of the light to also appear to us of their own volition? That's what I think is going to happen.
When we talk about, and I do ask all of my guests the same question, when we are talking about 3D, 4D, 5D, 6D, 7D, we're talking about these terms. I want to be clear here. When we're talking about 6D with the Sirians, they no longer have a physical body. Am I understanding correct?
That's correct. So
with us, we will eventually get rid of our meat sacks, right?
That's an eloquent way of putting it.
Right?
Yes, absolutely. Well, that makes sense, doesn't it? I mean, we can't be bound to the third dimension forever.
Can't.
As far as if you subscribe to the idea that we are soul returning to source, eventually the nature of that experience is that we release ourselves from the limitations of being in a form, in a body. And it's pretty hard to imagine that, but I do think that that is our future. And as for disclosure, I do believe that we're going to have three-dimensional ET presence, and that this remember is the opportunity for other beings to come in. I don't for a minute subscribe to the idea that any government can own ET disclosure for an entire civilization. So if they come in with their own agenda, this is a government announcement. We will also have participants from other realms, other worlds who will join in on the party.
Are you the only scribe for them? Are there other scribes on Earth getting the same information?
Boy, that's a good question. There are other people who are declaring themselves to be.
Sure.
And surely they are bringing it in a different sort of language, because the Sirians work with my innate ability, if you will, to transcribe the thought bubbles that come into my head. So somebody else who's hearing the information may express it slightly differently. But I'm sure I'm not the only. What an honor that would be. But I don't think that's necessary.
Have you asked yourself, why me? You were selected, right? I don't think you won this in a lottery, right? Your name was drawn out of a hat.
I think that as a child, as I told you, when I was 4, I said I was from another galaxy.
Right.
I think that I consider myself a starseed. And, gee, that expression gets overworked quite a lot. But from childhood, I've had a very galactic sense of reality. And back in the days when everybody else was knee-high to a grasshopper, because I'm older than a lot of people out there now, I was already talking about ET when I was 5, 6, and trying to convince people of the ET reality. So I think that part of the reason why I've been, let's say, chosen is that I was prepared for it when I came in.
These are my questions now that I always ask. Do the Sirians, what do they do for fun? Do they have humor? Do they have music? What do they do? I mean, if you get rid of your body, that means you're not necessarily riding a Harley Davidson for a good time, right? You're not tooling around the planet. But what do they do? Do they have humor? If they're a light being, that means they're not eating pizza, right? So they're not doing that part. What do they do?
Well, a lot of their humor comes through the material, so it's really.
Now I've lost you completely. Yeah. Oh, man. Go back to the microphone.
How about now?
Yep. Now I got you. Okay. You said a lot of their...
A lot of their humor comes through the material. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I got you. A lot of their humor is through the material. Do you find it funny? Do they know? Are they intentionally trying to be funny?
Well, perhaps it's not funny as we interpret a good, 1 hour comedy act, but they have a lot of irony. But mostly they just have compassion and joy. It's different,
Right.
Joy is another level of humor in a sense, if you think about it. And as far as music, oh my God, all they talk about is music. The music of the spheres, the music of every living being. It's just at another level.
Right. Before we get to the end here, I want to thank you for coming on tonight. It's just been an absolutely fascinating conversation. I can't wait to do it again. I
love being with you.
Well, what I do want to do is the next time I bring you on, I'm just going to open up the phones all night and we'll take calls for a couple hours. I think that would be a lot of fun. But the end of the book, obviously, there has to be something that we can do That's the question that, okay, this is all great. This is great information. But what can I do? What do I do about this?
About what?
About all of this information and the awakening and going through this period. What can we do next?
Okay, one of the absolutes that the council drives home all the time is to step away from not step away from technology, step away from the addiction to technology, step away from the screen, step away from the drug of allowing the screen to dominate your consciousness.
Right.
And get into nature, understand the planet, look at a leaf, see the animals, swim with dolphins, hear the real music. I mean, by the way, I love the music you played tonight. I was enjoying it a lot. But the music of the earth, the music of I've heard the music of the spheres twice in my life. This was beyond anything I can describe. Everything is music. Listen to the birds. Tune in. Unplug and tune in. And of course, I'm saying this to a guy who's communicating with me over the waves.
Right.
So I honor and celebrate the fact that technology gives us so much access, but not to the point where you're so addicted to it that you're unplugged from what's around you and then feel victimized by what's coming through the screen about how terrible everything is.
Yeah,
so
you
start
can't.
With that.
Yeah, you can't have it both ways.
Right, you can't. I mean, use it. Don't let it use you. For starters.
Marion, let me see if you can answer this in 60 seconds. Marion just tweeted, great question. The entities that you're channeling, are they responsible for a lot of the synchronicity that's happening to all of us? Synchronicity is everywhere today, isn't it, Patricia? I mean, you can't even ignore it.
Yeah, I don't think that an entity would create synchronicity. I think that synchronicity is an aspect of multidimensional reality. And that the difference is, and by the way, very good question, is that we are beginning to become much more aware, much more sensitive to it, much more conscious of how things are unfolding, the serendipity, the synchronicity that is being multidimensional beings. We are awakening. We are. How beautiful it is.
When are you coming over to the States?
Hopefully this year, but if there was a reason, I could probably make it happen faster. So if there's an event or something, I'll try to get open for it.
We'll talk to you about that. And until then, enjoy the rest of your day out there in the Azores and go look at that harbor. Thank you so much, Patricia. Fascinating conversation tonight.
Thank you, Jimmy. I love being with you. Thank you so much for having me back.
You're the best. Thank you so much.
Take care.
Patricia Cori. Now, the new book, which is amazing, it is called The New Sirian Revelations, Galactic Prophecies for the Awakening Human Collective. Everything is over at jimmychurchradio.com. You can click and go get the book. And I'm trying to figure out why my music isn't playing once again, but there you go. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. I'm going to take a quick break. And I'll come back and I'll open up the phone lines a little bit and we'll have a little chat. Stay with us.
Listen to my boy, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
So you went to dinner last night, you had your favorite pasta. Ugh. Or maybe you had a heavy, spicy meal and it left you. Ugh. GetTheT.com. Maybe you mowed down a huge steak and your plumbing is all plugged. Ugh. GetTheT.com. Our super strength tea will take care of your occasional. Ugh. It's all organic and non-GMO. Get rid of ugh. We have so many great supplements, but our super tea is number one. GetTheT.com. That's GetTheT.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of fade to black, you create the ultimate brew of Fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Yes, River Moon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
Hey, can we talk about something serious for a minute? Your age. Getting old has its perks. But remember, being a few years younger, you know, your hair was thicker, you didn't have so many wrinkles, that extra weight wasn't haunting you, and you just felt better. Well, we can't turn back the clocks and go back 10 or 15 years, but you can start feeling and looking 10 or 15 years younger with Nature's Youth RSF. It's a doctor-formulated daily supplement that helps your body maintain its peak performance and fight the aging process. Imagine sleeping better, looking better, and feeling better. See how Nature's Youth RSF has helped thousands of people just like you at nature'syouth.com. nature'syouth.com. The holidays are coming. Imagine how it will feel when your family and friends are asking you what you did to look so good. Your secret will be Nature's Youth RSF. It's time to start looking better and feeling better. Learn more and order your Nature's Youth RSF at nature'syouth.com. That's nature'syouth.com.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KJRARadio.com.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Thank you to Patricia Cori. Amazing conversation. Her book, The New Sirian Revelations, Galactic Prophecies for the Awakening Human Collective, is available. It was released earlier this month on December 5th, and you can just click on the links over at jimmychurchradio.com, and it'll take you straight there. And I'm opening up the phone lines. Let me do this. Boom. Okay, I'll grab that call. Stay put. I'll grab this one. And you guys just stay on hold. Okay. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hi, Jimmy. It's Marilyn.
Hi, Marilyn. How are you?
I'm doing good. So I only have a little bit of time to call because my supervisor might walk out anytime.
Okay.
So, been wanting to call in because not long ago I had this really, really trippy dream that, so my boyfriend leaves for work in the morning, I go back to sleep. And, so all of a sudden, my dream, and all of a sudden he's like, I don't know, it was like 4 or 3 gray beings all surrounding my bed. And they wanted to abduct me. And I was like, no, I was screaming out, oh, Jesus Christ, help me, whatever.
Right.
And after that, they just left me alone and they disappeared. And when I woke up, with sunrise, and in my dream, it looked the same too. So I was tripping out. I was like, what in the world just happened?
Well, I'm going to ask you, what do you think happened?
I don't know. I don't know. It seemed really real, and I don't know. What's weird too is that, when I woke up, I woke up to my Xbox turning on, and I don't have my controller around to turn on my Xbox, so that's what tripped me out too.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't fall asleep listening to Fade to Black, did you?
No, I didn't. This was really early in the morning, right. I don't know, 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning. Yeah.
Now, when you saw them, were your eyes open?
In the dream? Yeah.
No. That's what I'm saying. Did you come out
in real life?
Yes.
No, it was a dream.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, once I opened up my eyes and woke up, nothing was there. But everything looked like it was in the dream. Right.
Yeah. So do you feel like, because remember, you called me with this experience, right? Do you feel like, because it's important to you and you felt like you needed to share this with me and the audience, do you feel like it actually happened?
No, I don't think so. I don't know. I don't know. It's a really tricky question. I don't know.
Does it scare? I know, right? I mean,
it's scary, thinking about it.
Right.
Because they're really ugly.
Yeah, and you don't want it to be. Yeah, you don't want it to be real. I mean, that's the scary part. I mean, I mean, how many times have you heard me say to a guest, I want you to be wrong. Right, I do. I just want you to be wrong about this, because if you're right, then we've got issues, right? So, but that's pretty interesting. My little experience with that, my eyes were open. I mean, I saw what I saw, and that's the part that flipped me out. So, well, Marilyn, thank you for sharing that with us. And if it happens again, let us know. Call me.
Oh, geez. All right. Well, you have a good night.
You too.
Thank you.
Thank you for the call, Marilyn. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
This is Nathan in Ohio.
Hey, Nathan in Ohio. How are you?
I'm going to turn you off in the background. Boom. All right. I'm very good. I just wanted to say it was a great show tonight. And the point I wanted to make was that the mantis beings have always told me that they're a sixth-dimensional entity, and I find that interesting. I'm not claiming they're the same thing she's in contact with. I would assume in the universe is vast that many things ascend to different levels. But the mantis beings are very creepy to me because I've experienced them so much. I kind of perceive them as a negative entity.
Right. I haven't, I have never had that experience, of seeing a mantis being, or any type of reptilian. But the experiences from everybody that has had that, the descriptions are all very, very, very similar. And there's something going on with it. And having them, being 6D or interdimensional makes a lot of sense. It just does, and it's kind of frightening to me. But then the other part about it is that the appearance is what's frightening. But I think by and large, most that have those experiences say that they're cool, right? That they have compassion.
Well, this is the thing. They have this ability to give you what I call the love stare.
The what?
The love stare.
The love stare. Okay. Have you?
They lock eyes with you, and they project this feeling of love and comfort to you. But I don't know if I trust that or not. I mean, it is a mantis.
There are some pictures that we posted during the eclipse, and this praying mantis lands on a friend of mine's arm, right? So I grab my camera. The eclipse is like going on, right? And so I grab my cell phone to take a picture, and this dude is looking at me right in my eyes, right? And it was a really cool. And right as I started to snap the picture, which I never got to take the picture, this thing dove on my face. It just, and I landed. I jumped about 10 feet. So I got the love stare, right? I got the compassion, and then I got the attack. This thing just raised its arms and just dove on me. Thank you for the phone call, Nathan, and we'll see you tomorrow night, man. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Jimmy.
Have a great night. Nathan from Ohio. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Deb from Sacramento.
Hey, Deb from Sacramento. How are you?
I am fantastic, Jimmy. Are you having a good night today?
Oh, what do you think? That was a pretty amazing conversation.
Yeah, I love the love that the bud showed to you by landing on your face. That's really cool.
Yeah, I don't know where those pictures are. I'm sure somebody out there will repost them now that I've mentioned it. But it was crazy. It was such a cool moment. I'm like, look at this little guy, and I'm checking him out, and I get and everything was cool. Everything was cool. And right at it's just like, and I'm looking, and he just dove on my head. And it was pretty funny because I know that I think I probably peed on myself just a little bit. And I fell backwards probably, I don't know, man, 4 or 5 feet. I launched backwards. So what did you think about the conversation tonight?
I thought it was great. I had never heard her before. I love the part about her swimming with dolphins and feeling called to go swim with the dolphins and talking about synchronicity. And I have an amazing synchronicity thing that happened to me today that I wanted to share.
Yeah, what happened?
Well, for months now, I've been trying to restart my job career because I wanted to find just the right fit. And I'm one of those people that likes to work graveyard. And I also come from the print industry. So I've really been looking for that type of job. And every day, I'm on certain websites, looking for the right fit. And today I found one that was reposted that I had already applied for like a month ago. And I said, but I had never heard anything back from them. And I thought, oh, they've reposted it. Maybe I should reapply again. And when I was efforting that, trying to reapply and resend my resume, it wouldn't let me because I had already applied for it. So I thought, I guess I'm going to have to skip this. And just as I thought that, my phone rang. And it was that company that I was trying to reapply for calling me, wanting to know if I was still available for graveyard, and they hired me to start work tomorrow night.
Now that is the universe. Yeah, that is the universe working. That's a trip.
Yeah. Well, it gets better because the last job that I had that I was with a printing company and I got laid off. And this was years ago and it was the last job I had that I really, really loved. Okay.
Right.
And I worked graveyard on that job and I was laid off on 12/12. And what's the date today?
12/12.
There we are.
Yeah, that's trippy, man. Don't ignore the universe, right?
I never.
Wow.
Never.
Well, congratulations. Now, what does this do with your Fade to Black listening?
Well, I don't have to be at work until 1 o'clock at night. So it's in person. Yes. So I still get to wake up, listen to your show, the whole show, get ready, take my time, go in, and just, do my thing. So it's perfect.
Wow, that sounds like a schedule. Okay.
I know.
Congrats and congrats on the new job, and it's so cool to have the universe doing its thing when it comes to synchronicity. You got to love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much,
Jim,
Deb.
I'll let you go.
We'll see you tomorrow night.
Okay, absolutely. Take care.
Take
Bye-bye.
care. Bye. Phone lines are open, 323-825-5045 or 323-275-9695. This deja vu thing that happened, talking about synchronicities. So for those of you that were watching on the bunker cam, you caught the moment. As Patricia, she asked me, she said, did you read the story about the Italians in the new book? And my answer was no. I don't know. Well, anyway, I hadn't. And I didn't know what she was going to tell. So anyway, as the second she started to tell the story, I deja vu'd. I guess is that a deja vu? Yeah, I guess so. Well, anyway, I knew the whole story. And I'm saying to the camera, deja vu. I'm mouthing the words. I'm like, I wonder if anybody knows what I'm saying right now as I'm going through this. And I am definitely going through the moment on the camera. And I'm listening to her tell the entire story. I knew all of it word for word. So then I wrote out deja vu. I spelled it wrong. No, that's right. I just did deja vu, and I held it up. There I am holding it up for the camera again. And I went through that moment. And this was the thing, I knew the words that were about to come out of my mouth as I started to speak. And I went through all of that live on the air, and that was a pretty remarkable moment. And we're talking about time slips, and that happened. That was absolutely incredible. That was really, really cool to go through that on the show. I haven't had a good deja vu. Rita said to me the other day that she hasn't deja vu'd lately. And I kind of thought about that for a second. I haven't deja vu'd in a while either. Then boom, bam, happened just like that. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hi, Jimmy. It's Sabrina.
Hi, Sabrina. How are you?
Very well. Thank you for asking my question.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, I read your email. See, this is Sabrina, everybody. And Sabrina will send me email during the show, and it gets through to me. But Sabrina doesn't ask questions with her email. She gives a statement. And so I try to, this is what I do with you, Sabrina. I know you're picking up my vibe. You send the email, I'll read it, and then I'll change the tone of the show a little bit and weave your thought into the show. Because it's never a question. It's more of a statement or a thought.
Yeah.
But anyway, you called me. What's on your mind?
Oh, I wanted to touch bases about the channeling stuff. There are so many things that have been coming through of late with me and my guides and the things that they're telling me and showing me, the different visions that come in. And like with her, I find myself writing something, and before I know it, it's there in front of me, and I'm going, wait a minute, what does that word mean? And I have to look these words up because I've never heard them before, yet I've used them correctly in a sentence. And it's the trippiest thing when it happens.
Well, you also mentioned, because she didn't have an answer for that, about you pulling the seeds of pain from the blue beings. So
yeah, what I am doing in these instances is I follow the silver umbilical cord into the center of the being where there are these seeds that look like eggs. And I can pull them out of the being, and it's the seeds of pain and suffering that they've been going through. And I hand them to them so that they may heal them. They see what they are now, and they can heal them.
What are they? Oh, I'm trying to get the words out correctly. What do they need healing from?
Well, similar to us, the misperceptions, the things that they've taken in to believe to be true. Like with me, I had to look at all the things I experienced in my life, in my childhood. and recognize where I made a choice to believe in a judgment being handed to me. And those were the core beliefs that I took in and held as being true, that were giving me pain and suffering every moment. And it's in a similar way, that's what I'm pulling out of them. Are those things that they've misperceived that need to be healed.
What do they look like? You describe them as blue beings. What do they look like?
Okay. If you are looking at the human body, like the shadow of a human body in the dark, right?
Mm-hmm.
Imagine it being a clear, light blue, see-through glass type shape that is a deep blue in tone, yet the light that comes off of it is a light sky blue in tone. But they are completely clear and see-through, but they glow. A beautiful, luminous blue light.
2 hands, 2 feet, 2 arms, head?
Yep.
2 eyes?
Yep.
Mouth, nose, ears?
Well, that's just it. Is when I was looking at them, I could see the indentations of the eyes, the nose, the mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Yet the eyes were closed at the time. So if they had opened, I could see if they had eyes. But at that moment, I could see where their eyes were.
Right, right. What about other things? Clothes? You said you could see through them. So did they have?
Yeah,
were they wearing? No clothing.
No clothing.
Anything to make them male or female? If you know what I mean.
Not as far as I could see. They were just an energy body. The females had what looked like breasts, lumps, for the lack of a better term.
Right.
But in the male, just like the solid male chest.
Right.
But all of them are clear and see-through.
You know, we have to ask these questions. You know, I want to know. I want to know these things. And this is there
is another thing I know about these.
What's that?
I went to a event the day after my birthday last month in Corte Madera. Jamie Butler had come in, and she channeled. One of the beings that came through was Eric Medhus, and he was talking about how the beings are interdimensional.
Okay.
So they're interdimensional beings that I'm interacting with, but that was as far as he could go because that wasn't the time for that type of conversation.
Right.
So that's the most I can find out. I haven't been able to figure out what species this is yet. It's like, as I've told you in my emails, my guides have not told me a name. They keep telling me it's not the messenger that matters, it's the message.
Yeah, and I hear you, but I want names. I want,
I know. I
want names.
Like
I want places.
Too.
Yeah, I want names. I want places. I want dates. I want to know what's going
you're
on.
You're like Alex in there. He wants a name, and it's like when we had a conversation the other night with my guides. They were like, "You're persistent, but you have to understand, it's not the messenger that matters. It's the message. When you latch onto the messenger, you lose the message."
Yeah. I understand that. I have that other side of me that a lot like, this is the, talking about, Stanton Friedman last night. I understand where Stanton is coming from, right? Yeah. He wants evidence. He wants paperwork. He wants identification.
Yeah, okay, but
he wants tax returns,
Here's the thing. And this is something that humanity needs to understand. You will see what you believe. It is not seeing is believing. It is believing is seeing.
And I understand that. I do. But there's the other aspect of all of this where my pragmatic side comes in and says, okay, enough is enough, right? Mm-hmm. I get it. I've watched enough. I've watched enough Chinese movies with some soothsaying, mentor, that always says the same things, which is, to move forward, you must first go back. Dude, I don't want to hear that.
Yeah. You know what that's about, though? You know what that's about? You have to retrace your steps back to where you first made that first choice and decision to believe in something that wasn't true.
Right. But I also want the facts. I want, and I get it. To go up, you must first go down. And a
lot of this is about going within. Everyone wants to look outside for everything, and you can't. You have to start turning within. That's where the answers are.
Right, and you have the Chinese master that tells you, okay, you must climb these stairs every day. Right, and it's like, well, okay, well, how many times do I have to climb these stairs? Well, first, to get the answer, you must climb the stairs before you may come down. Dude, I don't want this stuff. But and I totally get it. The truth is, and we're at the end of the show, and I don't want to cut you off. But the truth is this: the intelligence of whoever we are dealing with out there, we are trying to understand because it's beyond us. It's beyond us. So these answers are probably very simple for these beings, and I get that, and they're trying to communicate this back to us, and we just don't grasp it. We just don't understand. But
well, delve into those emails I've sent you, and you'll get an understanding soon enough.
Oh, I understand. Sabrina, have a great night.
You too, Jimmy. Blessings to you. Hugs and love to Rita.
Thank you so much, and have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Yeah, it's so true, though. When all of us are looking for these answers. You guys get it, right? I'm looking to move forward, you must move back. To look at the past, know your future. Exactly. You guys get it. And I'm okay with that philosophy. I understand that. But you know what? I also need the answers. I really, really do. Over and over and over again, so many people want disclosure. Or, if I hear, why doesn't, a craft land on the White House lawn, take me to your leader? And I get that side of it too. But I've also seen things in the sky I can't explain. I've had my own experiences, so I don't really need that part of it. But to have them, ET, say to us, well, we can't. You're not ready yet. First, you need to do this, or you need to. That part I'm frustrated with. Let's just end all of this, right? Let's end all of this. Land at CNN headquarters in Atlanta, Georgia. Just park that baby right in front, and then we can move on. So much will be answered at that point. So there you go. All right. So tomorrow night on the show, we're going to have Whitley Strieber. Tomorrow night on the show, we will not have Rita. Rita will be in Manhattan, New York City. Maybe we should have Rita call into the show tomorrow night. But until then, tomorrow night, Whitley Strieber right here. I want everybody to have a great night. And for some reason, I always have some kind of frustration right at the end of the show. But not tonight. Everything is good. Fade to Black's executive producer is in New York. Her name is Rita Kamarian. Safe travels to Rita and Diana tomorrow. Show's produced by Hilton J. Palm, Renee, Dennis, thank you, Bob. Announcers are Steve Harder, G. Vitoa, Mark D. Kovar, Webmaster, Drew the Geek, Music, Doug Aldrich. Intro, Spaceboy, spaceboymusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network, and syndication is KGRA, The Planet. Thank you to Patricia Cori. The new book is amazing. Go click on the links over at jimmychurchradio.com. This broadcast is owned and copyrighted 2017 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Until tomorrow night and Whitley Strieber, everybody be safe. Go Beckley Teppy.